fair wages, no child labor, and a lot of things which is very part of our lifestyle. And I have been associated to fair trade for long, long years, but it's much later that I went ahead and saying I want to be a member. For me was if the trade is not fair, why would I do it and why not to begin? So that has been a very ethos for the community who live over here. So fair trade is very much in our culture. And it's a good way to acknowledge it that we build a community, and symbolically that Puducherry, one part of it is a very much a same ethos. It's an ethos of integral yoga of Mother and Shrivinda, and that's what we are into. And when we click into national map, or you go to Google and say fair trade organization, the lot of red dots comes, which is the south part of India, and that happens in Puducherry and Auroville, and that's very, very inspiring that there is so much as given to us, and we have sometimes taken it for granted. One more thing in Auroville is very special, that all the beautiful units you see, their founder and their executive, they do not own the organization. They are just a caretaker. Ownership lies with collective, and it's unique on the planet. It happens in a different, I mean, we come across that, oh wow, there's so much happening and it's very, very beautiful, but deep down what is happening is this non-ownership and giving so much. I was asked in the conference in Paris that why would you work so hard for an organization which you don't even own? Why would you do that? And I had never thought about it. I just never knew that, oh, this can be a question as well. In Auroville, we take it for granted is my action. So we don't discuss, but that question really made me think. I didn't have an answer immediately. I said, it's our love for Auroville and for the mother and Shrivinda that we do that. We don't do it for our own sake. So it's a very auspicious time, or also a very precious land to begin this first twin town city project, and Auroville is part of it. So I take it as a very auspicious kind of sign. It could have been anything, but it's so beautiful otherwise as well. So I'll ask Priya. Good morning to all. So we again welcome you to a third day of our first National Fair Conference in Puducherry, Auroville. So today this is a day 3 in Auroville, and the speakers for today who will be sharing the stage are. So we had Madam Jayanti Ravuji joining us as an opening speaker. But then I just got a call from the office that there is something has come urgent of the committee front, and she has to attend to that, and she has sent her apology. So we have that. So I would like to call Ms. Tara. She is from Teddy Exports. Yes, welcome to the stage. So Tara does not need introduction. We have been just watching her and being inspired by Tara for already 15 days. Come, please take a seat. And eco-service, Kali's work as policeman. So Kali is the executive of eco-service, and he's going to share us about the project of how Auroville manages waste and how a system has been put in place, and it's so robust in a way, right? We feel proud of it. So we'll hear Kali's story. Please come. Now I would like to call Mr. Malcolm. He is the brand manager of Maroma. So Raghu Nand Kumar from Auroville Consulting. Raghu, are you in the room? might be little late as so we can start it today. I'd like to call Ms. Kulu to the yes, please. So our final speaker for today is none other than our hero. You are there on the stage, Ms. Anjali. Come to a conclusion first, yes, please. So we have our people. So first, now can I start with anybody, or here again we have a discussion? Let me go first, few minutes. I'll take the call. Yes. So I would like to start with Tara here. So please share a few words about what is your take on the conference and about factory, about sustainable consumption production, and where do you see it? How do you see it?
I think, as I said yesterday, this is a great opportunity for small businesses to be learning from big businesses, but also for big businesses to be learning from small businesses. Yeah, it's a great opportunity for all of us to be learning from each other, and also to see the work that grassroots organizations are doing on the actual ground. I think that's something that when businesses consider sustainability just a part of their CSR kind of department or their CSR initiative, they're missing out on a lot of what the actual sustainability strategy is. We're going to move around. No, okay. Try to keep it. Try to turn off your voice. Yeah, I think they're missing out on a lot of what sustainability can actually give to their strategy. Like we said yesterday, longevity is of the core values built into the idea of sustainability, and all of our businesses, not our business, everybody is really close to business. We want the business to last for as long as humanly possible, and that's the core of it. Sustainability is based on longevity. So if we can incorporate that into our strategy, into our core business strategy, then I think we really need to reassess where we are. Like 10, 20 years ago, it was like the marketing department in businesses used to be down the hallway behind the door, and it was kind of considered the sales department. And now what we're seeing is marketing is kind of brought into business as part of the core strategy of the business. Now it's the same thing for sustainability. We need to move forward with sustainability at the core of our business strategy, at the core of everything that we're doing, not just as an additional kind of value that we can add to our product or to our business. That is why we're running a business. We're not running a business so that we can close it down in 5 or 10 years. We're running a business so that it's able to manage with changing contexts, and change is the only constant that we have in this world. So we should definitely be able to adapt to it. But I think this conference specifically is such a good opportunity for people in this area in South India to meet, to collaborate, and to start conversations from this moving forward in how we can work together and learn from each other. It's beautiful you can have this. The challenge, maybe 25 years ago, I think my mom was definitely ahead of the curve with her business. She was kind of pitching sustainability 25, 30 years ago when nobody really understood what sustainability was at that point. And I think the same thing today. We still face a lot of I want to say stereotypes, but maybe that's not the right word. There are some associations with sustainable and fair trade products that it's always high costs, It's not really worth it for, our end consumer. They don't really care about the product, which, as we're seeing in today's market, is not the case. The consumer is becoming even more conscious of what they're actually buying, where they're getting it from, who's making the product. And I really think the market of tomorrow is based on sustainability. So if we're not focusing our businesses towards that as a key principle, we're really missing out on that kind of side of growth. I think the challenge at the moment is, definitely India is maybe 5, maybe 10 years behind in trying to get the local kind of context and local government and local authorities to understand what we're actually trying to do, and to try and get them to kind of involve themselves in what we're doing. So I think that's the biggest challenge, especially where we are down in Madurai. That's definitely the biggest challenge.
Okay. So I would now like to ask Malcolm a few inputs on, because you are again dealing with a brand, and maybe you can add more on what Tara was saying. Like, what is that you see as a strength, and what is that you see as your major setback also in this?
Okay. Well, all right. Well, all right. I gotta take off my optimist hat. But I'm gonna start with the strengths. What you said is exactly how I feel. I mean, unless you're running a get rich quick scheme, sustainability should be the goal. The goal is to pass down your business to the next generations, to connect people to resources across the world. That's the purpose of business. So sustainability, obviously. And I find it interesting on her point. It reminded me of McDonald's making vegan burgers. And like 20 years ago, that was like, what? Like vegan was this a stigmatized kind of I mean, the flavor aspect, the cost aspect, all of the negative sides of it were not part of business. And then suddenly, vegan is everywhere. You can't really have a business without the options, And in that way, sustainability is the practical way to go. During Corona, the wellness industry went up, I think, $3 trillion in 2020. Like, everyone was concerned with their health and bettering their lives, their inner worlds, their inner relationships, and all of the products that led to that, all the workshop, all the services flourished in a sense. Anything that you could make that would help a person deal with their mental health, their emotional health, their physical health. And I think we'll see that everyone is evolving together. And I think the benefit of this conference is the benefit that we all, one of the bittersweet benefits of this pandemic that we just, I guess we're crawling out of now, is there was a bit of a sangha. There's a bit of a world unity in our desire to make ourselves better and the world better for each other. And I think being in a room full of people, just like a church or a sports group or anything that you believe, a room full of idealists, a room full of creative, aspiring people, that's how the world moves. And we happen to be a group of people who are committed to the goodness of the world. And it's very inspiring, and we can keep each other up. When business gets tough, when we get lazy, when we get sad, when we lose hope, we are always surrounded by people who are also going through the challenges and persevering. So that's what I think these conferences are good for. That's why our Instagram feeds are covered with stuff that we believe in, to keep our spirits high. And that's what I think the purpose of this is. Benefit.
So with your last line, and you are such a young person who's a brand manager, which we were all discussing. Tell me more about how do you think the technology plays a role? What's your take on that?
Access to information is the easiest one. For instance, Maroma. So Maroma upgrades its products, I guess, in the spirit of Auroville, and constantly pursuing the highest level of, I guess, technological advancement in a sense. That's not the right word. Technological is not it. From discoveries from without and from within, and incorporating that into your lifestyle, into your yoga, into your business. And as we're in 2022, you can speak to somebody that lives in a cave 25,000 miles away, and he can tell you the secrets of how he stays healthy. As opposed to something being I guess, a tribe secret or a a village knowledge that only lives in one man's head. Now we have access to create individually for our individual selves a lifestyle that is holistic. We can take care of ourselves finally. It's almost like the world is becoming an adult. And I think technology, because before it's everyone taking care of us, it's the doctor telling us what to think, it's all of these things. Now we have the access to create a world for ourselves. I think information technology is the biggest. It's the thing, it's the reason that humans are human beings, that ability to communicate and pass on knowledge and wisdom to each other. And right now we are in the age of technology, of information, and perfect timing, I think.
Thank you. I think we would, yes, please. So in the room there are some new people, and it would be very nice if Malcolm has something to present about the work of Maroma, and so is Tara. Would be nice. So Kavi Priya, would you allow us to give that space as well whenever possible? Yeah, I'm just
So I was thinking, like, I will just ask Mr. Parni here to say a few words first about himself. Then we'll go on to, I'll ask you. Because I will want everybody to know what you're doing and who you are.
Good morning. Now that the big, another bad situation was businessman. Sorry.
The town is full of people, with different people in different occupations. So you are a part of the town.
Yes. I am Parni. I'm in charge of one of the person Eco Service Auroville. Myself and Kali, both are executive of the Eco Service. We are dealing all the waste in Auroville. So we consume most of the Auroville waste only, not in the villages or outside. Very few who really wanted to join with Eco Service, they are welcome. We have a non-Auroville unit guest house, around 23 people there, including in the Auroville. So we are consuming waste in Auroville monthly 11 to 13 ton of waste. In plastic, only in plastic 5 ton, 5 to 6 ton we are consuming plastic. And also we are requesting Auroville, it is no, we are more and more challenging person to be not to put in the way. Last, I can say like the last 3-4 years, we are consuming more and more the multi-layer plastic. So this is such big challenging for us, and no recycler, but now they are consuming more. All the package, it's all multi-layer. I don't know how to stop, but I don't want to blame anyone, but it's only responsible for us. If we are ready to buy, then they're ready to give. If we stop that, they won't give. It is our responsibility why we are using that kind of a plastic. And the Tetra Pak, it's the same thing. It's written there, it's a recyclable. But how they recycle, who will take? It's a big question. But when we are contacting the Mumbai company, and they said, yes, please, we will take it, but you send it to us. Then how the whole India they are supplying from Mumbai, that's one of the big company, and they are ready to take. They never refuse not to take. But how to send it here, the transport cost and all. And who will say that it's not easy to just send for 100 kilo, 500 kilo on truck transport, you know, all like, you know, how the cost of the transport, who will be responsible, and the storage of the space we need it. That is the reason nobody wanted to store that Tetra Pak and multi-layer. One year we are like saving that multi-layer plastic around 3 to 4 tons in Auroville only. I'm talking about, not in Puducherry outside. We are only consuming. It is looks like a small but huge. We cannot put landfill. It is not good. It's 600 years to decompose this plastic. So we are avoiding not to put in the landfill. We are saved. Finally, we found that the Bangalore Sahar company. So there we send it to the looping with the cement factory. So that's only, in the South India, there is only 5 cement factories which is allowed to take, not other cement factory. So this kind of things, it's for us, it's very, very challenging. Every 1 year or every 6 months we need to send like 6 ton of waste. Now people already like, the companies, good plastic, which is a recycled, we call IND, but a thicker plastic, transparent, it's a recycled very easily in Puducherry. But now people wanted to put their brand name. The brand name printed, once you printed the chemical, when heat, it will be the other layer, like, it's very hard to recycle, nobody wants to take it. That's a big challenging for us. That means like, we're not recycling. So it goes to that cement that is good, valid, and also to recyclable plastic, which you are printing because of your company. So this is a big challenge for us also.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I would now ask Anjali, now that we have come up with some challenge, what is your take as one of the national coordinator? Do you think where lies are, where should we stress? So what's our strategy in addressing these things and how can Federate take up these things?
So, I just want to share a little bit of who I am, because everybody knows me only as the national coordinator, but I wear another hat. I have been in the textile industry since for the past 17 years. I did my business in 2002 with hand woven and vegetable dye. So I had looms and a vegetable dye unit in Pondicherry with one tailor and one pattern master. In 2004, I started hearing about farmers' suicide, and that time I had already 10 tailors, and I started going to the fields and farms to understand what is happening with the farmers. And that's when the reality struck me that, they are being given pesticide, they are being given GMO seed, and there are so many other things. They were falling into financial traps that for that reason they were committing suicide. So sitting on a farmer's land, I took a pledge to work towards organic. And from there, my journey started. From organic, I discovered fair trade. And at a very early stage in the journey of my company, we became organic and as well as fair trade certified. Now, going along the journey in the textile industry, for us, what was key was how can we be change makers in the mainstream of fashion? Because there are already a lot of players with handloom and working in the artisanal sector. But how can we be change makers in the mainstream? So that's when I started working more on seeing the challenges, as you were saying, because it's important when I address a challenge, it has to come through an experience. Only then it is authentic. So that is why I thought maybe it's important I mentioned 2 words about my past journey. So when we went into the textile and we started doing the cutting or we started following the supply chain, the waste was being generated in every sector, every segment, every step. And our factory was actually based out of Pondicherry, and it was a zero waste factory because there was no waste from our factory that would go outside. All fabric was returned into paper, and paper were made into hand tags for the same brands from whom the waste had come. But what always intrigued me is, it's a factory waste, it is production waste, it is this waste, it is that waste. And slowly, when I started drawing the line from where all this begins, I realized that it all begins from design. If we do not start thinking differently from design, we cannot resolve this problem. Because if the designers are not thinking how we need to make sustainability, how are we, see, everybody today is looking at upcycling, recycling, reuse. The focus has to go on how to reduce. And that starts from the design. And I want to share just a very small story over here. We had a Spanish buyer, and I used to always keep telling them, please send your designers here so they can understand the textile supply chain and they can then design accordingly. And this was a buyer who would send only their production managers and never the designers. And they would say, no, it's not necessary. They're sending you the paper drawings and all you do from that. And I said, okay, no problem. 1 year went by, all the other designers came and together we started working on, how to reduce waste and all, except for this designer. So the next container that went for them went along with their entire waste. I took all the cut bits and I sent it to them in their container. And then I was following when the container is going to reach the factory and I'm going to get a phone call, and I did. And the owner was furious. And I said, since 1 year I've been telling you, please come and see your waste. I've given you numbers of how many kilo waste your collections are making, and you've done nothing about it. So I think it's important I give it to you in your country. You do something about it, you know. And that next flight, the buyer was here, and today they design garments zero waste. So I feel all of us sitting here are actually, we need to start feeling that we are enablers. That we can enable people who would like to move into sustainability. If we should not feel we are the back end, we are the support. Without Palani, Auroville will have garbage. Without Tara, there will be exploitation in the textile industry. So we are not the back end. We are the enablers. We will help transform. If a brand, if a company wants to make change, here are the people who will help them to bring change. So I think we also have to start change the narrative. Instead of always being in the back end, we should feel that we can enable things. So yes, I feel that it has to start from design. Awareness has to come from the top, and then it will automatically reduce. So yes, recycle is very, very important. Upcycle is very, very important. There are different challenges in the entire supply chain, but I think design is a key element to bring change and more sustainability in the world.
Thank you, Anjali. That was lovely. So basically, I have to move back. So this is the sound children, so I'm just going back without facing you on. So the thing is, taking a point from what you said, it has to come from top. But the recent concept of management is bottoms up approach, right? So maybe the people from top should look and plan a bottoms up approach so that they will be able to act accordingly is what I think, right? So I'm trying to say that.
So I'll just add to that. So when I'm saying top down, I'm meaning design. So if you see, even if it is in the car industry, it is designers who are conceptualizing. So the conceptualization has to be sustainable. They need to know and understand the entire supply chain, not anymore how design used to be initially. Designers are in their room, they don't know the supply chain, they design and they want it executed.
That is exactly what bottoms up is all about.
So design is
exactly. So we have a new person who has joined us on the dais. So I extend a warm welcome to Mr. Raghav here from Auroville Consultancy. Am I right? So please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Raghav. I'm part of a unit of Auroville. Called Auroville Consulting. We're a 10-year-old unit. We focus on sustainability, mainly different sectors, energy, greenhouse gas accounting. We even work with farms on sustainable cold chain practices. So I'm part of the greenhouse gas accounting team, which means that we work actively on climate change, helping organizations, individuals, or communities adapt to the upcoming policies, regulations, or even changes climate-wise, etc., that come through our upcoming climate change and global warming. So, particular to carbon management is what I work on. So, we've been doing this for about 3 years. That's an intro, but I have a whole presentation if I have to get into it.
Before the presentation, now I would like to ask Uma here about. She said that Auroville, the whole concept is about sustainability and change. So, can you add a little more on how can we connect this fair trade movement more or fair trade? How can we make or involve other organizations to become a fair trade organization? What's your take on it?
So what I meant to say earlier was that fair trade is part of Auroville's lifestyle, and plus more, because Auroville is an international spiritual township, and not only fair trade is taking care of the points we focused on as a fair trade committee. Auroville has spiritual well-being and much more larger impact as keeps that in the focus. What is powerful about it that committee like Auroville can become a frontier in the conversation of fair trade as a mainstream, and that is happening right now. If you don't make ourselves explicit, we tend to take ourselves granted and tend to not even honor ourselves for who we are. So it is a fair trade committee and conversation which also makes Auroville owns what it does and also looks at it in a and put a label. If that's a label it is, we should. And I have not given myself rather 10 years not to go into fair trade certification, very comfortable saying that's what I do. I don't need a certificate for that, and I will not do it for the certificate. I do it because that's what it is. And why would I do anything else? But when the conversation with the buyer and the market began, that opened up that it's not about what I feel, but it is about how explicit I am in my conversation. And that was the year we signed up saying, we'll go for it. And I also went all the way to WFTU as well and realized that basically my work and my commitment is India right now. There was a time I closed export totally and took India as a space of my work and activism, and farmer suicide was so, it hit me so hard that I could not imagine that who the hell is interested in India farmers are dying or surviving. Why be interested and our farmer dying or not dying if I'm not interested? And there was the export sector, although we were busy making production and it was very occupying. So we didn't have a time to think about anything and I couldn't sleep. I say it bothers me. I feel like I'm standing in the blood pool and I'm a designer. So for me, design for change was becoming, it was haunting. Like you cannot just not see it, to not address it. So I changed the whole process of Upasana and we went 100% organic in 2010, which was not even fashionable. We went almost bankrupt and all that. Nobody knew about it. The media was printing about what we had done. Business-wise, it was disaster. I said, organic, cotton, let me have food organic first. Cotton may get a bad making. So all of that was, and I used to cry and they say, I didn't go organic because world needed it. I went organic because my farmer needed it. Enough of manipulation of pesticide, insecticide, and manipulated seed, and they have to buy 200 times more expensive, and with the risk that it might not even survive, and one crop fails, and farmer drinks the same poison who's putting in the land, and then they get paid into chemicals and seed. And the track was so much. I was working with 600 farmers and 900 acres of land near Madurai. So but it was in 2006 we began working. And while I was sitting with the farmer, it just freaked me out. It's the same like what yesterday our girl said, Shahna. So I just was like, I needed to go and see psychiatrists, It was difficult saying, this is what my industry is all about. I quit now. I'll go and work in Machimanni Garden. It was a bit like that. And finally, we decided that we go 100% organic. If somebody needed it, no. But it would have we bought the whole production of the year, however tons of cotton was grown. And we went into processing the cotton all the way through 25, 27 processes we have to go through. And it was absolutely crazy. I must have gone mad in that year. So my manager comes to me and saying, Oma, this is all okay, but we have 85,000 meters of fabric, which is conventional, and it is in the stockroom. And I was so determined, I said, burn them. And it was mad. It was just maddening. Now I look back saying, oh God, it was just so not. It was just too far. But the impact on it was the farmers' impact was what the life-changing impact I had in my life. And I have been working in the craft sector. I've been working with the women empowerment. I'm born in as a girl child in Bihar, in Bodh Gaya. Believe me, I know women empowerment. I just had, let's say, this country, where am I? And how did I just manage over here? Run for your life, don't even. So I kind of did a first strategy and ran for education to Delhi. I just couldn't imagine what would happen to the girl in Bihar 50 years, 52 years back. And that was the scene of India. So women empowerment has been very close to my heart without knowing that everything I did, I was like keeping women in the center until the time I saw what was happening to the farmers. Now that led me into going deeper. So 54 million people in India into craft, textile and clothing sector. And what is the GDP contribution? Less than 2%. So what that happens? A lot of poverty. And what we do in India, we buy clothes on discount. And I've just made a movie. How expensive is my discount buying? And I took a vow that I'm going to consumer behavior and teaching, the conscious consumerism will be the intervention point and education. Apart from that, I run a conscious clothing brand. We don't need clothes, but we need to communicate that let's buy fair. And there it comes, fair trade.
So, Tara, I would like to ask, so we are really talking about the fashion industry. So, we had a talk about the designer's perspective, the conscious designing. So, just as we are in fashion, I just thought I would ask you. So, what is your viewpoint? Like, how was your consumer? We are the producers are for the consumers, right? So, how do you think? So, yes, the designer consciously does everything. We procure good cotton, but what I want to know the consumer's perspective. How do you face that? What is the challenge there?
We don't sell directly to the consumer, we sell to businesses. So some of the big businesses that we work with and have worked with for quite a long time include the Body Shop, and the Body Shop whole core strategy is around community fair trade. So we're obviously their first CFT member as part of their community fair trade program, and that started back 35 years ago. So for our consumers, which are the Body Shop and other customers like that, we're finding that they're increasingly demanding these kind of sustainability agendas, organic cotton, FSC wood, all of those kind of things, but they don't really understand the core principles of sustainability in a business. They're more looking for the certification so they can stick it on their labels so they can sell more products, which I feel like there's a payoff there. At some point you kind of have to balance whether, as for us, our main priority is to provide the people that we have at Teddy Exports with long-term work, with fair wages in a safe environment, with a happy working environment. So we kind of have to put our own feelings about how we feel about how the consumer is using our certifications to sell their product. We put that on the back burner so that we can ensure that our values of long-term employment and sustainable work are met. So yeah, I think it's a bit of a payoff. But like I said, I think a lot more of the companies that or kind of the business relationship that we're moving ahead with. So yeah, we've got customers like, or future customers like Clarence, like the French movie, they're all kind of coming up with agendas now internally. What we have to do is almost remind them that this is a mutual learning relationship. This is not them coming to us to teach us about what fair trade is. I don't think, we used to supply at one time. The Body Shop was owned by L'Oreal, which is the biggest monster in the cosmetics industry. And at that point, we saw our fair trade agenda from the Body Shop, which was one of the main things that the Body Shop used to used to activate their entities to be aware of what the activism that was being done through the products that we were supplying. And then what happened when L'Oreal bought them over, completely wiped out. The whole agenda just went in the toilet. Sustainability was more of a marketing scam than it was actually making sure that people are paid the proper wages and working in a safe environment. And the environment around us was not a consideration at that point for L'Oreal. And then the Body Shop was sold back to a different company called Natura. And Natura is obviously certified B Corp, so they're one of the first B Corps globally. And I think after that acquisition of the Body Shop by Natura, we've seen a complete kind of flip back to all the original values of the Body Shop, all the original principles that they wanted to embody back when Anita Roddick was alive and really doing all the activism and things. We've seen a complete flip back to that. So I think we have confidence in our customers at the moment. We have a mutual relationship with them whereby we're learning a lot from them on a regular basis. They're also taking learnings from us. So yeah, I think it's just about, we can't, at the end of the day, we're not going to go and try and expect, all the companies in the world to want to pick up sustainable products at one time. That's not going to happen. A lot of the companies that we see in today's marketplace, they prioritize the bottom line. That's it. They only care about the cost of the product. They don't look at where it was made. They don't look at how it was made. And unfortunately, I think 10 years time, we'll be sitting here having a very different conversation. Those companies will probably be, filtered out of the market, and then we'll see other small kind of,
So I think it will be more like the vegan, what do you call it, burger, which Malcolm was talking about, maybe. Yeah. Probably another 10 years down the lane, maybe we'll be talking like that. So I think Uma would like to add on.
Thank you, Tara. So I have been very active into the education and communication front in my work, and I saw that was the only way I could intervene. And nobody needs clothes. We are the largest landfill of the planet, so we don't need to make more as a principle, if I have to say. But when I look at the 54 million community of India, I feel inspired that to do something for them. So that's a dilemma. It's a conflict space for me personally. But what I saw when I was launching the organic cotton brand of Paruti in 2010, and we were all over in the media country-wise, and there was no sale was happening. Because it was more into conversation, you see, and you do good and people are clapping, and business-wise it was terrible time. What has happened? And then when I was crying, I could not do anything which was sellable. It was not okay for me to do that product. And what I thought was right was market was not willing to buy that. And they had a reason. They were still asking for the green trouser and a pink blouse and so on like that. And I have gone organic and natural. I even had reduced the prices, and it was terrible time. From no angle, it was motivating. And I really thought and said, Mama, I don't know what it is. This is what I could do, and I have done it. And if I have to die with it, I die with it. And maybe I will be 80 when this sector will be transformed. And guess what? Sector is transformed, and I'm not 80. So today everybody's talking about sustainability. That time you cooked, it was a very elite word. People didn't. Right now, at least everybody's talking about it. Do they understand? Tara, they don't. I have tons of students, they give me explanation of how they think the sustainable fashion is. Sometimes they get completely dressed up in Zara and come and meet me and say, can I interview you into sustainable clothing? I say, strip yourself down first and then it off. So that's the way it starts. And as a professor or as a kind of guest faculty, I can get away with this, and they are like crying and all kind of drama happens. So what I'm saying is that even that it felt that it will not happen in this lifetime has happened, and what has happened is it became mainstream. Does it mean everybody understands? No. Does it mean fair trade everybody understands? No. But fair trade is coming in the packaging of conscious consumerism, and we've got to know that. We got to know that there's a layer which is youth is very, very inspired and want to get into fair trade. And fair trade, we need to have put this jacket in our conversation somehow, that This is working, and this is working much more. Everybody wants to be in the bus of sustainability. Which station goes, which station they have no idea, it's just fashionable. So what trends, somebody said yesterday, everybody followed what is trending. Good news is sustainability is trending. Now what the work would we have it in front of us as a community to put content, put the value, and have a case study, role models, our heroes in front so people can follow.
Beautifully told. Actually, here I'd like to say that so we just don't need a layer. I think we need a multi-layer of things here. So I would now ask Mr. Palani to add on more to this multi-layer thing because he doesn't like multi-layers.
Actually, I wanted to share about that only. I wanted to ask my. Um, we are in the third generation. We are using plastic already 600 years. We are lost, like, how many generations in 600 years? We spoiled all the children. What you are going to give for next generation? There's no water. There's no food. The, most of the business people is attract only like women and children. So they're giving packet food or the masala and so many things like for the ladies. So many things like package. Please avoid most of the plastic things. That's what I was really requesting. That 600 years is not easy. Probably like a 20 to 23 generation we already spoiled the last 35 years. So we need to think. Now everybody was talking about waste management, now everybody is aware, but still every year we are consuming more and more plastic. How we are going to stop this? The government was decided like 2018, Tamil Nadu government banned one-time plastic use. Suddenly all the company went next to the state, put like more multi-layer plastic and pack all the food items. Now you can see everywhere all the masala, food items, rice and all, brand name. Now more and more plastic. Every state have a different law, different way. How we going to stop this? This is only for us. We need to think what we are going to give the next generation about the packet food or plastic, how to save. So it's not easy, like, and we say like in Auroville, like 13 ton of dry waste we are consuming. Every day, next to Puducherry, we counted one, per day they are consuming 540 ton per day they are consuming waste. Can you imagine how much they put like mountain? We are putting like landfill, they are doing like mountain. So many acres. When the rain comes, all the waste, where the water will go, and how many people will get sick. We need to think this kind of things also. Everybody, the government tried their best, but it's not only government can stop this. It's only from us. We need to think how to save. We just thinking like one plastic, two plastic, everyone. Last 6 years, we saved 40% of plastic from the children by the education of Auroville community and schools. So why we try to do this all over India? You can see everywhere in the road, most of the things lying everywhere in the multi-layer plastic. That we need to stop. Then we will be India will be clean India. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's just not the plastic which we are going to give our next generation, coming generations. I would like Raghav to add a little more on that.
Yeah, waste is a very important sector, and we have to definitely, from a high level and a grassroots level, figure out better interventions to figure out how to manage our waste better for sure, and to reduce it at the source also. Definitely, from policy decisions to education at the individual level, there definitely has to be intervention. So similar from our field, we cover waste, but we also include energy, water, or all the sectors that are finite, that are going to carry forward to our next generation. So how we try to do it is to quantify it in terms of a number. So that number is carbon. So how the carbon is emitting from different practices, either from our equipment, our processes, even through resource consumption. So we work with different organizations and we quantify this number. Right? So where do you start? If you want to see a reduction, you need to first measure a number. You need to quantify before you can reduce. So this is where we are hoping to work with multiple organizations in multiple fronts. So we work with them through their process. So we understand what are the activities they undertake, what are the resources that come in and the resources that go out, and how these resources affect the environment and how they can better design or better shape their processes to reduce this impact. So this can be done individually through basic education, we do it through gamification, getting individuals through tools to interact with, to understand which choices are better than the others. Even at an organizational level, we work at process interventions, we help them understand how to reduce, and even at a community level, to understand what's the impact of your community on a large scale. And this is how we can set long-term targets and do a top-down. This is helps a lot with the top-down policy implementations and changes from that sector. So we have been working in multiple organizations. Our organization itself, Auroville Consulting, we've been reporting our emissions for about 8 years now. So we quantify it from all sectors, directly induced by us from our fuel usage or from our electricity consumed, and even indirectly from the team members who commute every day to work, from where our waste goes and what's the emissions through that. And over the years, we've worked and tried to implement reduction activities. We've reduced from 2015 till 2021 our emissions by 80%. And this is through this, we also work with other organizations. We help them set carbon neutrality targets. Maybe by 2025, they want to be carbon neutral. What's the financial implications? What process implications have to change? Do they have to look downstream, upstream to their suppliers, get them involved? How do these activities? And yeah, but it's a full presentation.
Very interesting what you said. It would be nice to see.
Sure, I can. Okay, I can do it after, if that's a possibility.
We have 45 minutes to share responsibility. You can put the chair a little bit so that we can also see. That's what I can finish.
I can do the presentation. Again,
Here we have the way, the answer. Some people, this is one of the solutions which we can look into and businesses can look into, because businesses businesses are something which will have to look into with all the aspects, from supply chain to the production, consumption. Profit really does matter for a business to sustain. So yes, Anshul.
This is
government, local authority, bring all schools, universities, colleges, we bring all on the same platform and to create awareness. So I think this is a very, very powerful platform where we are not alone. And it is all of us, all stakeholders coming together as you rightfully said, the consumer doesn't know. Even if you put it on a shelf, the consumer will not know until and unless you create an awareness. So that is, I think, the platform of the fair trade towns in India to create awareness with consumers, not only for a consumption of a chocolate bar, of a chiki, or of a beautiful incense, but on all sustainability angle and on all the SDGs, especially the SDGs that the fair trade and the WFP embrace. So I think we have a very powerful platform, and we need to take this movement to the next level, pan India, because that's where the togetherness, the collaborativeness, the networking, the voice for people who are doing things in the back end is important that it is heard there. Yeah.
So basically, we have to connect the dots. I think there are so many things happening worldwide, and this small 3-day conference could connect so many people, bring out so many things. I think there's so much out there to connect. So there's so much positivity, or there's a chance out there that we can make it definitely in less than 10 years or so, if possible. So before
Before Uma turns 18.
So I wanted the audience to know, or the speakers to shed light on how does the climate or the workspace looks like. Like we talk about a fair workspace, we talk about inclusive workspace. So what is the climate there? How do your people who work there feel? Can Malcolm share some points on it?
I'm clarifying the question. The world space or the workspace? Workspace. Oh, Maroma. Oh my God. That's it's not the best place I've ever worked at. I don't know. And I've had my resume is ridiculous. It's got like 50 jobs in it from all across industries. I think I've worked at one more fair trade company, and they presented in 2020. It was called Rouge Au Chocolat, and it was like a purple office, and the walls were soft, and like the voices were soft. Anyway, but Maroma, I think almost, I think to explain the relationship between the Roma products and its workplace, you would kind of, in my mind, it might be a little left, but the understanding that we all have now that animals which are, I guess, slaughtered inhumanely, let's call that, depending on where you blame, an animal that is, I guess, slaughtered, produced, and consumed by you, an animal that goes out in a state of fear and misery is going to make you in a state of misery. It's you become the mad cow. And I think we have that understanding, which we didn't have before, that your relationship with the way that things are produced, the people who are producing them, with the living entities, the way that they are treated from their inception until your consumption is super important to you as an individual. And working at a company, working and recognizing that there are companies here that have happy people making your products, comfortable people, cared for people. When they sweat into your product, it's a sweat of love. It's a sweat of camaraderie and joy. That changes the smell of your incense. It changes the smell, it changes the feel of your clothes. You know, it changes your world, surrounding yourself with good energy. As I'm in Auroville, so I can say good energy. I don't have to like qualify it. Surrounding yourself with good energy and removing that guilt aspect and that eco anxiety from your life, little by little. And I think the weight of not to get on a tangent, but the weight of activism. Someone told me a while ago, most of the activism is just humans trying to undo what humans have done. Like it's rarely battling, or like it's really, and we try to like fix things. But I think the simplicity of somebody having a craft that they love, the simplicity of people working where they feel like respected and a human being, the same way they would at their home, hopefully. That type of thing, it's paramount. It can't be quantified. What you have is what fair trade does is humanize our world. It puts maybe not a face, but it puts a human on the other side of everything you do. And mentally, we don't really do that. In the IT sector, we just picture like a server or something. We picture just a cow going into a conveyor belt or something like that. But on every level of everything that we do, whoever built that camera, every piece that came out of the earth every piece that was refined, this microphone, every voice that you hear on the radio, every spot in the ceiling was a human interaction. And their involvement in the process, it determines the quality of the product that you want to get. Maroma from its inception from the top down has been organic and people-based. It's been the focus is people. The focus is to build a town that needs to be a town so people can come and be people and unify. From the products need to make people healthy. The products need to keep people feeling good. Maroma sells wellness market. Maroma needs to be a place where people want to work, where people can work and they continue to work. Maroma has put, I've never worked in a company where most of the people there are like working there for 10 plus years. And nobody looks like they're sick. Nobody looks like they're like trying to lie to get out of there. Like I can't even describe it. I go to I shower every day like smelling like aroma, and I go into the place and I'm like, like normally I'm trying to like figure out how I can get this check and get out of here. You know what I mean? But like there I'm just like, whoa, I'm contributing to betterment. I've never felt like this before. I know I'm geeking and I know I'm kind of just going on, but it's weird. I thought I knew what the world was. That's where I'm at right now. I'm discovering fair trade, and it's changing me as a consumer. It's changing me as my value system has changed. And that I don't think I would have gotten that from a sticker on a product. I think I really had to work somewhere. I had to see values where no one is looking, and the rooms that have no cameras and no hashtags attached to them. It's just people being good.
Yeah. 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 We talked about the organization first. We talked about the yes, now we are actually talking about this is actually one of the important things that attracted me to practice. So many of them actually ask me why I as a doctor, what role do I have in Frederick? But I think seeing people as people, and different things for the people, like just a constitution, but it's for the people, by the people, and for the people, right? So it is basically all about that. When you empathize with somebody, you see what the other person is. When a person is happy to come to work, when a person enjoys what he's doing, what more can ask for, right? So please tell me what is your organization or any stories.
Yes, our organization is very different to the typical commercial kind of manufacturing plant. We've got almost a 33-acre site down in Madurai, and we've got, I think we've got 450 people down there at the moment working, and Mum's literally created, my mum is in the back there, but she's created such a, it's almost like a family style working, so it almost becomes a little bit difficult when we're trying to put in some structure, put in some rules. But I think what's happened is because we have such an inclusive workforce. For example, we've got, I think 10% of our workforce is people who are differently able, so people with HIV, which is unheard of in a textile industry. People with physical disability and also people with mental disabilities as well. So what we do is we try and find each person's strength. So, for example, somebody with a physical disability that may not be able to stand up and do printing, we will find them space in the production line where they can sit and be comfortable and do repetitive work that they're able to get the productivity that we need. We have a Paralympian at Teddy Exports. Yeah, we do. We have a Paralympian. She's called Raja. She's played in like Commonwealth Games in Delhi. She's very accomplished, and she works in the handwork department. She puts the buttons on the back. So it's one of those environments where everyone just kind of has a special place in the exports, and especially the people that we try. Our main goal is to provide employment to people who would not be able to get employment elsewhere.
So 73% female workforce at the moment. I'm very happy to say our managers and supervisors are also female. It's one of the only companies in this way. Usually we find women in the workforce and the kind of workers level, but we would never really find women at the supervisor and manager level. We've got mainly women, including myself, mother. So yeah, it's a very, very empowering environment to work in. Lots of animals. I don't know if anybody knows, but my mom is actually a failed vet. And she's a failed vet because she will have a personal situation that caused her to fail her final exam, but she's actually very accomplished in veterinary science as well. So she rescues animals. I think it's just the kind of environment where a dog will walk in, dog has a home for life now. Donkey walks in, donkey has a home for life now. We've got almost, I think, like 12 donkeys walking around. They like interact with the staff. It's very weird. It's like a little bit, it's a little bit of a circus sometimes. It becomes a little bit difficult to justify to, like, you know, when the big auditors are coming down from, you know, the body shop IKEA, they're coming down and they're like, oh, that's a risky situation to have a donkey in the workforce. And we just kind of say, Eeyore. Eeyore's allowed to go wherever Eeyore wants. Like, I'm sorry, we're not putting up a wall so that Eeyore is separated from the workspace. Exactly. And like the dogs and the animals, they actually I find that they actually feed into the kind of environment that we're trying to create. A lot of the staff actually end up taking slight ownership over a particular animal. So we have College Shelby, she's hard of hearing, so she can't hear. She's our best embroiderer in the whole 450 people. She is the highest skilled embroiderer. And she is hard of hearing, and she kind of adopted this dog. So every day it's her responsibility to feed the dog in the morning, feed the dog in the evening, make sure the dog is healthy. If the dog, you know, looks ill or anything, she's the one that notifies us and says it looks a little bit sad, it looks a little, you know. So it's almost giving her an additional layer of responsibility. And I think in an area like, unfortunately, in an area like South India, some of these people just get marginalized very quickly because of their lack of ability. And I say that in because it's not really a lack of ability. Like I said, some of these people who may not be able to hear or may not be able to walk or may not be able to, you know, or have HIV or whatever, that doesn't limit their ability in any way. They find a way to adapt to the situation very quickly, and they kind of make up for it in leaps and bounds in other areas. So, like all of the volunteer in women, all of them are packed by people with special needs. So they're all packed by like people that have come out of our schools. So I don't know if any. I'll speak about it a little bit in the presentation because there's a lot, but the special needs students that come out of our Teddy school, we try and give them vocational training and then try and employ them in our own workforce, if not in other companies' workforces. So we try and partner up with local organisations to provide employment for these guys. But yeah, they usually end up doing some kind of, if it's severe disability, then we'll try and give them a repetitive job, like something like tag looping on the actual bag, very repetitive, very easy for them to kind of get the productivity. It's a stable environment. They don't need to be moving around a lot. They don't need to be moving, or there's not a lot of coordination involved. And they can get employment and they can get a fair wage. We're actually 97% living wage at the moment, which is kind of very expensive. I think that's something that we definitely to justify internally is just minimum wage is a legal requirement, but living wage in an area like South India, you're basically making yourself non-competitive in the local market. So we no longer, you know, can compete with those 4 rupee bags that are being made on the in like Europe, but we don't. We're not trying to provide the same product. We're definitely not trying to provide the same working environment. So yeah, I think definitely everything kind of contributes in its own little way.
So I think this was very beautiful to hear, right? The very inclusive, what do you call it, a very fair working environment, not only for humans. I should not have stopped with humans, I think, but it should include animals maybe other other creatures and living things in the world too. Because I think fair trade is now, I think we should encompass those things also. So they are also equally a part of us.
A guy who came to work with us, he was 25 years old at his house. He was not really considered, a productive earning member of the family, and just kind of left in a room for the whole day because he was unable to speak, unable to communicate with his family. So they, the Tamil the cultural thing to do here is just kind of shun them sometimes, which is not the appropriate thing to do in this situation. And what ended up happening was we asked him to come and work. My brother actually got him a job transporting things from one unit to the other unit within the back 33 acres. We need somebody to walk from one unit to the other. And now he's actually started communicating. He's actually started being able to hold a conversation with people, which was not something he's capable of doing before. We don't take credit for any of this because we know it's not our achievement, it's his achievement. But we've just provided the space for him to feel safe enough to do that. And that's all we can do as enablers. I think we can't take any credit for what is being achieved there. We're purely just enabling that to happen. But it's definitely not ours to take credit for.
No, it's something I think you should take credit for, because I think being able to do something for even a person, a single person for that matter, means a lot. Okay, that is the chain effect which I think Frederick would like to take on also. The life. So I would like here to share any story of such kind which could inspire people more.
So there are many. I will take on the recent one. Then when the COVID hit, and it was very hard for as an organization for us to move in that. And there was we we decided to pay everybody's salary, and one time manager says next month we will be basically at the bottom. And the call was that we save the organization, or we continue the way we are working. And it was very hard time that to ask many staff to say that take a break, and that is what I was trying to avoid, and I have avoided till the time we went into a very bad financial situation. But the female or single mothers were always a priority, and they were given everybody full salary, no matter what, and everybody else had to have their 50% and things like that. And the middle of all of that was happening. Two of the ladies came and saying, no matter what you decide, I'll get up, I'll get dressed, and I come in front of the gate of Upasana and sit. This is my home. It's not my workplace. And I will come. And I'm okay, whatever you take a call from. It was emotionally very volatile space, and it was spiritually very enlightening space to I learned to surrender. I learned to surrender and find my own vulnerability and say I can't do it more than this. Mama, you take care of them. And please take care of them. I didn't know. And yet to learn that, I always thought I was their mama. The 50 staff to have be the mama of the staff is what I was feeling. At one point, I was just vulnerable and not knowing what will happen, and I was simply not part of it. I couldn't be part of it. So that was my learning. But when the girls that simply said, I'll come and sit, and I'll come and sit, it was very empowering. It was very empowering to me. It was just like, oh. And many of us have this in our conversation saying, it's not my workplace, it's my home. If I don't come to Pasna, where will I go?
So I think that's what a fair workplace is about. That's what we all are trying to talk to you about. So that is what is a small glimpse of what fair trade is about and the town's movement is about. So I think everybody would agree to the fact that we all constantly encounter or we are facing change, because we know that change is the only thing which is constant. And the process of learning, unlearning, and relearning is something which all we should keep doing, right? So Anjali, can you share any beautiful story. You are a wonderful storyteller. So weave some magic.
So I'll tell you something which happened in my own factory. So we have 450 women working for us, and it was a 100% export company. But our absenteeism was very high, 12, 13%, especially when you have women. If there is a puja, they're absent. If the child is not well, they're absent. If they have their monthly circle, they're absent. So their absenteeism was very high. So I was discussing with my HR manager, how do we reduce absenteeism? And it was months that we were talking to them and saying, can you please come? We need to have efficiency, production. So it was all production driven. And usually it is always felt that, when you are a business and you give time to your people, you're actually wasting money. Okay, so that's the usual way people are wired in businesses. No, they have to just come from 9 to 6 and they have to work and work and work and work. So I parked this aside. 3 months later, we just thought that we would do awareness for cancer, breast cancer, and uterus cancer, because that is very, very rampant in Pondicherry for women. And women hesitate to go to gynaes. And so there was these doctors from Jipma who had come, and the whole checkup would happen from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. But the doctors were there till 5. So what we said is, okay, let us open the checkup for the family members of the workers as well. So the workers completed their checkup, and after that, the mothers, mother-in-laws, sisters, daughter-in-laws, they all came and they got a checkup. All done, completed. They got an awareness program. So the whole day went away in this awareness program and a checkup. 2 months later comes my HR and says, ma'am, I don't know what has happened, but absenteeism has improved. I said, okay, let's go and talk to the women. What has changed? So they started sharing with me, saying, you remember you had done that checkup for our family members. Now, when we are, if our child is not well, the mother-in-law will say, no problem, you go to work, I will take care. So the whole thing of not just taking care of your workers, so automatically our efficiency improves, automatically our production improves, but it is not only taking care of our workers, but taking care of their families as well. If you can go beyond just the workers, and I think that is what fairness is about. It is about creating, as Uma rightly said, as Tara rightly said, creating a place, a home away from home. Because they live under such difficult circumstances, that if we can create a pleasant environment for them in their home, in our factories, then they feel they're at home and they come willingly. And as Malcolm rightly said, if they're happy, you can feel that happiness in the product. And I think that's where we need to take care of our people, planet for sure, but also our people.
So we are taking care of our people now. So I would want to little bit take care of the planet. So I would like Raghav to add on any small stories which had helped him save the planet.
Delete 1 or 2 photos.
Yeah, so I definitely want to address that in saying that we are not saving the planet. The planet does not need saving. Yeah, if from anything, it's us that the planet needs saving. So not really start when we talk about sustainability, it's we keep thinking that we're doing something for the environment, we're doing something to save the planet. It's never on those lines. It's about us and how we can sustain living on the planet and keep other ecosystems also sustained and also live together as one. It's fair beyond it's into the environment, the ecosystem, and how these systems have been existing for so many
Wait.
millions of years before we
Can
came
you
along.
open them app?
We
Can we
think that we are the center of this and that it's all about us.
Bin-
But these are going to be there after
sorry.
us and they were there before us. So what we can do is be in our part, affect the environment, and understand how our resource consumption, our activities can be sustained in the longer term. That's the main idea behind this. So I just wanted to get that clarified. Yeah, and I mean, you're talking so much about workspace environment. I want to touch upon other aspects, like emissions, resources, the way that they're stored, used in the workplace make a huge difference. We have gone to a lot of industries where there's diesel, there's oils, things that are leaking into the soil, into the ground, fumes in the atmosphere. They're not looking into the long-term health of the people in the organization, And this, I mean, when you're looking at it from an upper management standpoint, for them it's numbers. It's so much wastage. If it saves them money, it's of value. If it doesn't save them any income or profit, it's not. And I mean, I'm not saying this for all organizations, but the industries that we particularly taken up are high emitting industries, so we wanted to take up projects that we can make a difference with. So we try to quantify this and bridge this gap. We try to find a number in between profit and unquantifiable metrics to give them a way to create intervention. So we've found value in the better changes in the organization beyond just profit. Right? So we found how to quantify carbon using the market perception, using investor perception, things that high level management can really quantify and put in the books, while we can work on quantifying and converting that into ground level interventions. Better employee health, better ergonomics, things like this. We have to bridge that gap by at the ground level asking people how they feel, what can we change to make their work environment better, but also converting that in a way that it improves the efficiency of the organization. It makes the output of the products, the quality of the products better. And we try to do that. Bridging of that gap is something that we really focus on. And we've been trying to do that with multiple organizations wherever we can.
Thank you. So I only want to add, take a point and add a point. I will take a yes, the planet doesn't need saving. But what we are trying to do here is taking ownership. Okay? So if we don't think that we have to save, we don't do it, right? So I only meant to say that each person here should have that intent that it is their responsibility to save the money. It gives kind of a motivation for them to work on. So with this, I would request all our speakers to just rearrange themselves onto the stage so that we can activate the video for a moment.
I had a word that I bridge what you two were saying. Ownership feels a bit, I'm just gonna say not Auroville. More so taking care of your home, recognizing that your home extends outside of one circle, outside of one's clothes and house. It extends to the other side of the planet until it hits you back. Your home, you have a responsibility to every person you look in the eye, every person you interact with, every piece of air that you breathe. Building a comfortable, healthy environment for yourself and everyone around you is not necessarily a responsibility, it's just a privilege that you have, having a physical body and having a mind. So that's it. That's what I would say. That's what I so for sure. My name is Malcolm, if you forgot. And I have the responsibility and the privilege of telling you the greatest story ever told. I could tell you about Maroma. I could tell you about a company that started 40 years ago with a bunch of what looked like unprepared people trying to support their dream, who transformed a heat roof stand to a multi-million producing the largest quality, the largest manufacturer in Auroville, and never compromised on its values. I'm very inspired, and I think the people who already know the story are already inspired, and it's just a reintroduction, essentially. So if you can move on to the next slide, that'd be excellent. Stop you back there. Are you okay? Yeah. So the 70s were tough for Auroville. The inauguration shortly before 1968 had a lot of support. Diplomats from all over the world came. And while it was spiritually supported, politically and financially, it had a long way to go. So resources were low, but there was a city to be built. A man named Paul Penton, as you may know, and a ragtag group of sweaty Aurovillians decided to start a small instance, not even brand isn't the word, instance, with just 12 packets, and they created Ensemble de Auroville, just a brand of Auroville which served the people and created employment and brought money into Auroville. It was a very simple plan: make instance, make money for Auroville. Anybody could do it. But these people, their inspiration, their initiation came from, casting shadows. Their inspiration came from the same initiation that built the Machamandia, the one that planted all the trees that were breathing out of her. So what was most important to them, while the money came slowly in the beginning, what was most important was upholding the values of Auroville. And from that, whatever would come, would come. So it wasn't long before the fruits of that labor showed off. A few years later, Laura Reddy joined the company, and then their instance moved into candles and moved into body products, all types of things that span home and body comfort and health. Then they changed the name from Ensemble de Auroville to Maroma because it's not just anymore. They wanted something that more so incorporated the spirituality aspect of Auroville and didn't limit them to their original product. It was expanding, they were growing. So pushing forward with their fancy new name and their refined vision, they opened retail shops across multiple countries, 5 continents. For every country that Maroma was active, it had a single distributor, and this facilitated communication as well as larger production. This connection gradually became a solid pillar for Maroma's income and Auroville's income as a result. This is Calpi. This is the first retail shop in Puducherry where Maroma is sold. So Maroma has a do-it-yourself spirit. Over the years, the company has grown organically, so taking advantage of its own resources without, again, compromising on the well-being of people. Technology improved, the world got a little smaller, and Maroma's roots grew deeper until before you knew it, they were committing to contribute large contributions to Auroville, large contributions to the neighboring villages, large contributions to the state of India. And you're going to have to move on from that books. So, and before you knew it, they exploded. I'd like to welcome you to the wonderful world of Maroma, where the water is drinkable and the air smells like flowers. Candles of all your favorite fragrances, ranging from the size of your finger to the size of me. And incense sticks, incense coils, incense coins, incense sticks with no sticks, everything you need. Over 1 million units sold annually, and the company never compromises on the quality of its products, regardless of cost. Every product has 5 levels of QA, or quality assurance. That's from the raw to the storage, to the production and assembly, to the internal packaging, to the external packaging. Quality, inspection. Highest quality possible, regardless of the cost. And, this is their purpose statement: to ensure the creation of beautiful home fragrances and body care products in order to promote healthy lives and well-being. That's healthy lives for them, it's healthy lives for you, healthy lives for you. So, Maroma is and always has been for Auroville by Auroville. Therefore, Maroma has and always will be and wholeheartedly follow the values on which Auroville is founded. Auroville belongs to nobody in particular. It belongs to humanity as a whole. Auroville believes in unending education. Auroville seeks to take advantage of discoveries from without and within. And to this day, Maroma has never been privately owned. For 40 years, Maroma has continually reinvented itself. Maroma keeps the spirit of Auroville within itself by being a responsible and accountable organization. This practice led Maroma to follow the principles of fair trade. This is how we got here today. Maroma believes that employee esteem is of utmost importance. It's imperative that all employees, regardless of their role or the success level of the company, are provided for. Employees must take responsibility for a good working environment by providing for the women and men they employ. Employees should be able to represent themselves and speak directly to management about issues that affect them directly. Maroma is committed to good working conditions and employee welfare. So as a result, because of all this, on a practical level, firefighting training is given on the premises. There's a group of employees trained for first aid, state-of-the-art sanitation facilities all around, and dining halls as well. I'll tell you a little note. So we get tea every day. We get tea twice a day, and the cups are nicer than all of the dishes in my actual home. Like they're beautiful. I get to drink tea with my pinky out, like a rich person or something. There's a small thing that was like, tea tastes better. And in case there's any serious health emergency, the health center is right next door. So everybody's feeling safe, and they are safe. Maroma keeps an open dialogue with suppliers about fair trade and sustainability. They use ingredients which are recyclable and naturally abundant or taken from renewable resources. And in order for Maroma to guarantee the highest quality, suppliers provide compliance checks, technical data sheets, and certificates of origin. Everyone. Manufacturers, these are all the buyers. Well, not all the buyers, some of the buyers, key partners of which Maroma works with all over the world. We're also for trade. So Maroma makes products which are non-toxic, plant-based, organic, and contain no palm oil, which is known to cause cancer. And parabens. And for those who don't know what parabens are, no parabens. Parabens are like bad preservatives. Let's just call it that. Bad preservatives, which also kind of mess with your reproductive system. Like that. From the design to the materials themselves, Maroma's packaging is in a state of perpetual evolution. Maroma, if at all possible, avoids plastic. The world is still moving, so plastic is still in our lives, but eventually the technology will go forward. Freshness. The plastics which are used are cellulose-based, cellophane, a little more natural. Maroma believes in people. The incense is pure because the craft of incense is respected. This applies across all products. Maroma holds responsibility and ensures that all manufacturing processes are 100% legally compliant. So, Maroma's products have always been handmade, and for human safety, comfort, and efficiency, some machines have been installed. The semi-automatic approach is used where the cream filling machines and mixers are useful for soaps and lotions. And although Auroville has switched to wind generated energy, I guess someone spoke about it as well. What was it? Naturally powered although that is the case, and you can kind of just live off of that. Maroma still switched to LED lighting, which is supported 100% by the solar panels on the roof. They switched to diesel generators, which is low on carbon emissions, and which keeps the products cool, low emission air conditionings and whatnot. Maroma's compliant. Maroma's very compliant. I'm just gonna hit you with the agreement. Super compliant. Skip that slide. Yeah. So I think one of the most interesting things for me is the waste management, because it as Anjali kind of specified, the design of all of their products and all of their manufacturing processes incorporates waste management, recycling. Actually, to speak on that, I heard a saying, I read somewhere that design is not the way something looks or feels, it's how it works. All of the excess, let's call it excess incense powder, incense or dyes or perfumes, all of that gets collected, none of it hits the ground, all of it gets collected and added to the next batch. There's no waste whatsoever. The sticks get used, the sticks get reused. The soaps, any scrapings that make the nice little shapes, when you take the scrapings off, you melt them back into soap, more soap. Candles, same deal. If you even kind of created an industry of art candles, which are not created, but did you know that there were art candles? Did you know that there was an industry where you can carve a candle into a weird shape and then you never melt it because it just looks nice? But that's what they do with their excess. It's everywhere you go. Yeah, and they constantly research and move on to the next thing. So yeah, that's about it. I think. Right. The future goals are the same as all of us. We want to source locally produced fair trade materials as much as possible, but it requires all of these industries to stand up, and we are getting there. Eventually, we will have fair trade everywhere. I am very inspired because I'm very inspired from a branding perspective, not even necessarily from a you look very weird now when you're not fair trade. I know maybe you don't feel it, but like when your product hurts people, everyone looks at you weird. This is a time of life of information and technology where the youth controls the market. It's never really been like that before. Breadwinners have always been fathers or whatever, or older people, and they decide what is and what is not important for the entirety almost of humanity. And now the young and energetic, the young and concerned and learned are the ones guiding what we call the market. It's a transformation whether or not we see it. So from a branding perspective, it's very easy to sell fair trade because, hey, this product is going to make you feel better than this product. It's very simple. I think we should all be inspired. I don't think we should, almost as Angela said, like we shouldn't come from a perspective of us trying to like work into or support or justify what we're doing. It justifies itself, it sells itself from just everybody go forward. So yeah, that's it. I'd like to thank you guys for coming. This is our vision to be a financial cornerstone of the realization. Thank you guys. Thank
you. So I now would like to take the pleasure of inviting Laura, the founder CEO of Maroma, the person behind this.
Ready for this? I live with younger generation, and I'm very happy to have been here today and learn a lot. Really, thank you for sharing. And I think that's the way to grow and to go forward. Keep learning, and to keep getting better at whatever we're doing. And that's kind of close to the Maroma. So yeah, we also feel very humbled that it's not us, that we're just a vehicle, something to manifest. And we want to be part of the dream of Auroville, which fortunately has been founded almost 45 years ago by some young art ladies. And we want to bring back that spirit of young art ladies, bring back the unit. Slowly hoping to
from the corporate farms Auroville and Puducherry, we would like to make a little token of appreciation for Laura and for her amazing work over the years.
Thank you. I would like now to call Tara for the presentation. Yeah, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the back end, when this comes to changing, what was happening at your end here? Was something changing there?
Yes, I don't know if that's something we can read. We can have a conversation about it later. But yeah, no. I think obviously my mom is quite vocal on what her opinion is. She's not going to be quiet and say whatever they're saying. But I think that was the situation that happened with that specific fire. There was a lot of contention over core values that we hold very dear to our manufacturing practices. It was very unstable for us. We almost felt like the rug had been pulled out from under our feet, almost, because here we have this 35-year relationship with a customer that mutually benefits both the supplier and the customer. And suddenly you've got somebody coming in saying, well, actually, that's all great, but the bottom line is what matters most. Here you go. So, yeah. It was very difficult to manage business at that time. I think it would be very diplomatic in the way that we approached what they were saying, but also kind of, when the tour brought over the body shop, we were really pleased and had gone back to the initial values that we were again being, like put in the spotlight, like praised for the work that we're doing. This isn't like the kind of industry where you get a lot of global praise and not celebrities, but it's just like, we can't, it gets a bit demotivating when the commercial capitalist agenda keeps trying to batter you down and get you down, the price of 2 rupees per 100 pieces. It's like really demotivating. So I think when that happened, it was kind of validation of the work that my mom's been doing over the past 35 years, but all the work that the people there have been doing as well. So I'll go really quickly. I just wanted to show everyone heavy export, because I think my mom kind of really yesterday and didn't actually say anything about what we do. So this is heavy export. Yes, we go to the next slide. Does it work? Next slide. Oh, there's a delay. Right, okay. Yes, these are 3 of our workers. They work in the TMP/wood unit. Here's a little bit of the timeline. 1987 is when we made the first order for the body shop. OG, the kind of original body shop supporters will know it was that wooden footsie roller, and it came in a kind of cotton bag. So we made those for the body shop. That started the business off with only 5 woodworkers at the time. We're all watching a movie. I know, but yeah, so 1987 is when we started, and then I think shortly after we became EFAC certified, country will know the dates and all of that happened. At the time it was EFAC, and then in 97 we became a guaranteed member of the WFTO, so we've been a guaranteed member since then, and my mom was working in kind of fair trade there since then. So after that, my mom's main goal with the business is to have an adjoining trust so that we can reinvest the profit generated through the business back into our local community through the trust. So in 1991, I want to say, the Teddy Trust was started. And the Teddy Trust, the main initial project that we had championed at the time was the HIV/AIDS awareness program, which were, HIV/AIDS were rife at the time. It was being transmitted a lot by lorry drivers and things like that. So at the time,
distribution routes in India. So one of the key projects that my mum did was kind of, get an elephant, put on the side of the elephant, stop it, use a condom, march the elephant around Motherwell. So very unconventional tactics to try and spread the message about HIV/AIDS awareness. And then in '95, she opened our first school, so that was the Teddy Primary School, and that's all the workers that we have there welcome to put their children into our school, and they will get 50 concession. At the time, it was free, but what we find is that in Canada, if anything's free, it's not really appreciated as much. So if it costs even a little bit, then they really appreciate. They know the value of what they're getting. So the Teddy Primary School started first. Today we've got five schools. And that ranges from the primary school, English and common medium, all the way up to 12th standard, and then also a special needs school. So we have the first special needs school in our area in Madurai. We have people, bringing their children over 40 kilometers every single day to put their kids in our school, and the kids range from anywhere from 4 or 5 years old all the way up to I think our oldest child at the moment is 21, but they're currently in the vocational training program, so they're slowly getting trained to the business. Is the presentation from that? Yeah, I'll continue. So obviously we employ, as I said, we employ 11% differently able people, including people living with HIV, and then that was again validated by the government of Tamil Nadu in 2008. We won the Best Employer Award for people with differently able. So that was a great achievement for us as well. And then today, so at the time the school started with I think it's 10 or 20 students from workers. Today we have over 650 students at our school. So it's a huge impact, and like considering it started back in '95, we have a huge network of alumni that are all working within the Tamil Nadu chain. So it's really quite broad. So today we impact over 1,400 families in our local area, either through direct employment or through the school or through the HIV/AIDS awareness program for counselling and healthcare. We provide all the HIV/AIDS awareness program counselling for free. There's no charge for testing and things like that. So I think that's something that we're trying to build up. We kind of reprogrammed it for COVID and said, revamp it and stop COVID awareness. Sorry, you kind of, but we're moving it back now, I think. I'm just like getting a little bit, there's like not coming up. Only from my presentation does it have it, but let me just wrap it up. I've got the presentation here as well. So yeah, 72% of our staff are female, and 11% of those are disabled as well. And we've currently got 15 staff members who have been with us since the crash. So we've got the crash where all the women can leave their kids during work. That's open as long as working hours are open. The crash is open as well. On average, we've got around 60 kids in the crash at any day, so it's like really busy, really busy. We find like a lot of the workers have to bring like their sister's kids or like everyone's kids to kind of come together to the crash. We don't mind. It's more the merrier. And then we've also got certain certifications, which I know the paper doesn't speak. It's the actual work in the practice that does speak. But yeah, we've got the WSPO certification 7. We're also FSC certified. Not very many people in this kind of part of the country have that FSC certification. Not many people know what it's about. And obviously there's a lot of contention within the government as well because they have their own certification. But yes, we have the FSC certification as well. And then we're also ISO 9000 and ISO 14000 standard. Not really interesting to this. And yeah, we were actually certified for quality health and social audit for quality and health and safety. And now we're moving to META. So we're looking at META more of a, I think it's a bit more comprehensive and a bit more applicable to our working environment. Hopefully we can fly with the images at the end. So do you have a picture? Yes. Oh, perfect. Okay. Yes, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. We currently do wooden and textile products. The main breadwinner for us is textile products out of Motherwell, but we also do a selection of wooden massagers, small furniture items, decorative items as well. And we do those mainly for export. Like I said, us implementing the living wage has basically made us competitive in this market. So I think now it's kind of going back to the drawing board and how to grow the export base a little bit more. Our school, like I said, we've got 650 students. We also offer loads of extracurricular activities. We've got swimming for the kids with special needs. We've got hydrotherapy is really good in order for their mobility. We've also got non-formal education. When my mum came back down for when she came to Motherwell back to the 1890s, there was a lot of children involved in the matchmaking industry. So at the time, she kind of did a lot of non-formal education around their working hours to make sure that they didn't lag in their education. There's some things we can't beat. For example, in those industries, child labour is right, and nobody is up there holding, holding them accountable to that standard. So the best thing that we can do at that point is to make them as comfortable and as educated as possible within that sphere. So that non-formal education was key for that. And then we've also, environmental credentials, something that something that I think it may have been, I can't remember who it was yesterday was talking about it, but yay, there we go, we're back. Okay. So yeah, we can just skip like 6 slides. You just skip this one. Yes, this is a teddy talk. So the way that we reinvest our fair trade premium, or the way that we reinvest the profit generated through our business, is through the following kind of project. We have the teddy schools, which are made on. We have the HIV/AIDS awareness program, the Dummies Trust, which is a small physiotherapy center that we opened during COVID, so that special needs kids could get access to physiotherapy. The animal welfare trust, obviously mums out there trying to champion TB vaccines and all that kind of thing for our local community. The STAR project, which mainly works in the rehabilitation of casual sex workers within our local area, and trying to give them an alternative form of employment through tailoring handwork, that kind of thing. We upskill them for about 6 weeks, and then off the back of that, we do get some people who go back into sex trade. We try to keep them as safe as possible by providing regular based testing and condom. But then if they're not able to go back, if they want to stay to the export, we provide them with employment. So that's one of the things that we do. And then evening tutoring centres as well. For some of the kids during COVID, there was a big lag in education here. So we're just trying to catch them up as quickly as possible. And then future projects, alcohol awareness and rehabilitation. That's something that we have a huge problem with down in Motherwell. It's kind of men's things that they go get their money salary and immediately go and spend it all of it on drink. So we're trying to reduce that and trying to encourage them to do other activities like sports, like team building activities outside of work that don't involve alcohol. And then trauma and abuse counselling. There's quite a lot of child abuse that happens in our local area, so trying to provide those people again with counselling so that they don't go to drugs and alcohol like that. And financial literacy training. This is something that I think every single organisation should be doing. One basic thing that we kind of overlooked was, yes, we're paying our women, living wage. Yes, we're giving them their salary on time. Yes, we're making sure that they're safe at work and that it's going into a bank account and it's not being paid, cash. They give their ATM cards to their husband. Okay, their husband keeps the ATM cards. Some of the women that we have never operated an ATM machine. They don't know how to work an ATM machine. So now what we're doing is we're working with the Canara Bank to provide them financial literacy training. We're also providing them like a little setup basically where they can go and practice without the fear of being looked at every day. Go and practice how to use an ATM machine. We're also speaking with the Canara Bank on actually installing an ATM machine on our campus so that these guys can get access to their own funds when they need it. And we're also looking at doing a Sunday market. So something that we used to have as an employee market. We buy things wholesale and then sell it at that rate, to our employees, either deducting it from salary or just however they want to do it. And that's something that our employees actually fed back and said that's the only way really that they can get everything that they need for their families, and they don't have to go and ask their husbands for their cars. So it's quite a weird situation where yes, they might be financially, independent in terms of they have their own bank account, they have their own car. They don't actually have access to that. They don't actually have the knowledge to go with that. So empowering them through that is also really important. Yeah, that's good. So yeah, like I said, we could be 50 students. We also do classes in controversial topics, shall we say, like sexual education and drug abuse harassment in our local area. So like, oh my gosh, why is she talking about that? But yeah, I myself go and get involved with some of these classes. We make sure that the young men that are going to our school are not contributing to a toxic environment in our local community. We make sure that the women feel like the young women that are leaving our school feel empowered, they can do anything, they can be anything. Yeah. The COVID relief is not really that big a thing, but COVID relief was during COVID. All the supermarkets shut down. One of the main groups of workers that was impacted were daily wage workers. You don't get a daily wage when there's a lockdown. So one of the main things that we did at that point was using our wholesaling and purchasing network to gather groceries in the quickest way possible and distribute those groceries to local villages. So we managed to do that through our purchasing department. We actually managed to double our initial target that we had initially set out to reach. So yeah, the remaining funds that we can have left over from that went into the evening kind of tutoring for the kids to try and get their education. Environmental credentials, we're currently going solar. We're currently going solar. We've got the installation ongoing at the moment. It's a 100 kilowatt plant. Like you said, there's an environmental aspect to it, but there's also a financial aspect to it. So we're kind of expecting the government to increase, obviously, the rate of inflation are going a little bit crazy right now. We're expecting all of these prices to go up for power, for the materials that go into all of these solar power panels and everything. So we've done that now as a financial decision as well as for the environmental sustainable decisions. So yeah. Sustainability at Teddy Expo, we released a monthly newsletter, so we address the highlighted kind of SDGs on a regular basis. And we highlight those in our newsletter. So that goes out on a monthly basis. You're more than welcome to sign up. And also we've got Instagram and Facebook, so everything kind of pops up on there whenever something's going on. Yes, we've got wooden furniture, like the decor, massages, and children's toys. And then textile products as well. The bag, which is mom's known as the bag lady. She goes around telling everyone she is the bag lady. But yeah, we do make bags, we make apparel, and we also have in-house screen printing that's over my hand. We have the option to mechanize that, but we chose not to, obviously. We want to keep that labor force there. I'd say like our printing unit is actually one of the most confident, empowered spaces on our campus. It's 46 women. You are not getting away with anything in that unit at all. And like even I'm held accountable on a daily basis within that unit. They sing that song, the Tamil song about like lion woman, what's it called? Singam. There we go. They sing that song. They've got that blaring on the radio all the time, and they're all like singing and dancing. But yeah, we also do sequin beadwork and basic things. Yeah, that's it. That's a little. Those are some of our printing ladies actually. That's their supervisor in the back, the man. He gets walked over so much. It's not even funny. They control him, not the other way around. So I think that's how it should be in a working environment. But they're all happy, they're all smiling. So yeah.
So that was an absolutely, what do you call it, heartwarming and very interesting presentation. And I think we all could see the smile. You know, that smile talks a lot. The smile is not something fake for a picture. I think that was a very heartwarming, from the heart smile among all your employees who were shown today with us. So it was a really, really good thing. And everybody, I think, could relate to the small aspects which have been taught and acted upon, not just taught and acted upon. But I really wanted to ask you one question. So the thing is it, do you do something like it's a thought which comes either to you or your mom, or do you have a kind of a discussion and bring up things which is actually, helping the people out there in your factory? Yeah. Generally, see, there are small things which are very lightly touched upon. See, for example, there are some projects like the Charlie project, some projects like your poet, some crashes are there, the animals are there. There are multiple things. Now, how do you just do that? Like it's just somebody's idea within the or is it just somebody or in your lower level work, or somebody who brings that up and you do a work upon it?
So in the past, it's kind of been my mom who's the one who's coming up with the idea and saying, let's go do this, let's start school, let's start a health project, let's start a dentist, unit. And I think the whole point of sustainability is that it's self-generated. It comes from within the community. It doesn't come from an external kind of person. And so we're reassessing how we pick the projects that we're actually working on. So coming like that alcohol abuse and cleansing, that's reflected from within our community because of how big of a problem it is. And also the financial literacy training, that's something that we probably wouldn't have thought of initially, but actually coming from discussions where we're talking to our staff about how can we make your lifestyle better, how can we make your working environment better. That's one of the things that came up. We had a woman who basically said, you've given me good list, I can get any of it with my husband. And at that point, we had to kind of agree, okay, it needs to self-generate. So moving forward, with the Teddy Trust specifically, we're actually opening it up to local projects in the local area. So rather than us going and starting the project from scratch, we're using organizations that already exist, already have their roots in the local community, but maybe just need a little bit more financial assistance and backing. So we're opening that up from the Teddy Trust so that we can kind of work with what's already there, as opposed to starting up trying to compete with our own projects. The end goal, like I said, the destination is the same. It doesn't matter who ends up, getting whatever. It just matters if we're working towards that goal.
So we are at the tail end of our session today, and there is the sweetest, most adorable dragon in the room, and I would like to call on stage our most adorable dragon, Amanda. Please come here. We would like to applaud you.
Dragon. Listen here, our jewel dragons. Wow, isn't it wonderful for this one? I feel the energy from my heart and my soul and one of my energy we have in here. Yeah, we really can not only change the world, we can save the world. Wow. Yeah.
Thank everybody. So I thank all the speakers for today. So, all the speakers for today, your contribution to this platform is, I think, was interesting and it has inspired us. And so, I would like Anjali to and Uma also to just hand over small gift hampers. But I don't know, I can't say it that beautifully. Some lovely Scottish chocolates. So it will go quickly. Some congratulations from Uma. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Niti Pavilion. Thank you, Jaya. Thank you, everybody present here. Fair Trade Twin Town National Conference ends with a lunch at Unity Pavilion. We go to the same spot where we had tea. And anything, Anthony, you want to add to? I'm just so grateful to be able to work with Anjali on the project of Fair Trade Twin Town. The only one in Asia, and it has been such a huge honor to hold this space. And thank you all of you to be present. Thank you all the speakers and inspiring people. And thank you everyone who has supported. And thank you, Laura, especially Maroma, for the generous support in the process and hosting the event.
We can just all say, learn, fair, build fair. Yeah. Together. Learn fair. Build fair. Learn fair. Build fair. Learn fair. Build fair. Thank you very much. All the best. All of you in the Nilgiris next year. We will tell you when it's happening. The national conference is going to happen in the Nilgiris next year. Are we ready? Yeah. I can't hear you. Yay.
Good words.